That would help.
Hey, we are now live. What's up, guys?
Hello. Give me a second. I was almost ready today to take off the mask so that the deaf community could read my lips because I can't sign fast enough. Pop culture news. What do we got? Loki finale is tonight. I'm excited. We all know it's Kang. Sorry, did I spoil it? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe it's not. You never know with Marvel cinematic stuff. Anything else?
Black Widow's good.
I haven't seen it yet. Did they do Taskmaster well?
It's different.
But it's not. Is it wisecracking Taskmaster or no?
No.
Well, then I don't care. I want my meme Taskmaster, the current one. You still liked it? Okay. Okay, fair.
I want the Taskmaster who's like, hey, remember we were nice to you. We got you milkshakes.
Yeah, I want funny Taskmaster, the one that turns on black ants. It says ants are animals too, and pushes them into that zoo when they were being hunted by Craven. God, that was funny. Yes, I would like a Taskmaster.
When's the release date for the What If Marvel series?
August 11th is the premiere for What If.
So like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The trailer looked amazing.
I'm down for that. Any other pop culture news? Before
AMC is still holding strong.
Yeah, AMC. Go AMC.
Diamond hands.
Diamond hands. Yeah. So it's been dipping today, but whatever. I haven't checked it this afternoon. I know it's lower. Trying to think of what else. Oh, okay.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. You went to Disney.
Yeah.
Task Force Z comic book coming out.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, Task Force Z.
A zombie Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
Led
So
by
they're continuing with Deceased.
Led by Red Hood.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You guys now also have the set of 1 through 6 for Batman.
Oh yeah, we have 1 through 6 for Batman 0 Point Fortnite. So God, did you see me grimace when I said? So if you need Fortnite comics, we have literally all of them. Come through and pick them up, and I promise not to judge that much. It's just not my game. That's all I'm going to tell you. It's not my game, and that's that. Oh man, we got a lot of chaos going on. Okay, so we're going to get to the reviews this week. I'm probably going to start with the. Oh, okay. I'm probably going to start with the... Get my game thrown off here. I'm probably going to start with what I consider to be the pick of the week for this week. It's Adams, Peterson, Pasarin, Albert, Atiyah, and Hi-Fi. And we're talking about the 2021 annual of The Flash. Yes, I'm going to make it my pick of the week for DC and maybe my pick of the week overall. Why? Well, we've had kind of a thing going... First of all, the Flash is doing the quantum leap thing. Very clearly, he's jumping into the lives of speedsters to sort of help fix their timelines. More importantly, the last issue ended with him jumping into Heroes in Crisis, which, while Heroes in Crisis is still a great story, and I still love Tom King, the end of that left a sour taste in a lot of our mouths as DC fans, and I think we can all agree that it just didn't feel proper. It didn't feel like something that Wally would have done. So they're going to tackle that. And honestly, this is the most Flash comic I've ever read. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most Flash comic I've ever read. It was amazing. Stellar is really underselling it. One, it does sort of fix a lot of the Heroes in Crisis stuff. Two, it lets a certain other red hero go out like a champ, which is all we wanted out of that, and it was amazing. So this is honestly pick of the week for DC, probably my pick of the week overall. I'm going to gush about a couple Marvel books, but yeah, I'm just going to tell you flat out that the Flash Annual is probably the best thing on our shelves this week. So do not skip it, without a doubt. If you're a DC fan, without a doubt. If you're a Marvel fan looking to dip your toes in some DC, this is it. Next, Taylor Kubert, Hope Anderson, and we're talking about Batman Detective, but really, Batman's sort of going up against other Bat people, I guess you could say. They're white Bat people, and he's kind of got to counter a big conspiracy. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne has turned himself in and gotten himself arrested, as explained in another issue in this, and he's basically walking into a trap for good purpose. He's trying to get his bearings and stuff like that. It's a very Batman comic, but they've taken it in a different direction. He's no longer rich, and even though he's still got access to a lot of his tools, he's definitely under geared, I guess you could say, and it's really working out well. Like, I'm loving this story. What have you been thinking of it? It's okay. It's okay. I will say that I thought the same thing Cam did. I thought it was only okay until this issue, and then I was like fully on board. So that should tell you that it's a pretty good issue. I had an all right time with this. So definitely check it out. If you're a DC fan, you will love it. Next is a book that I think everybody should be reading, but nobody is. Tomasi, Rayner, and Guerrero, Challenge of the Super Sons. Now, the Super Sons have been given a magic scroll, and they've been tasked with trying to save the lives of various DC superheroes while also not letting them know that they're there because they're jumping around in time. This has been amazing fun, and it turns out that the big bad that they're going up against is Vandal Savage, which is always difficult for anyone to deal with, but the Super Sons, I don't know. While I have a lot of faith in Jonathan and Damian, they do drop balls from time to time, so we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Is it good? Yes, it's great. The art is amazing. I really loved who they had to save in this issue because, like, the second they say his name, like, Jonathan Kent's like, oh, I loved him so much, and I feel the same way as Jonathan Kent. So, yes, I loved it. I had a good time with it, but not enough people are reading Super Sons. So you really, really need to go pick this up and show your support to the franchise because more people need to be reading Super Sons. Next is, this one's labeled. I don't know why this one was labeled, but okay. Batman Urban Legends with stories featuring Red Hood, the Batgirl. Oh, okay. We need to unpack a lot of things. The last issue we saw Red Hood do something that I've never seen him do before, and that's he got trapped by Mr. Freeze. We finally figured out who the source of the cheer drops is. It's a guy named Cheerdrop. That's not inventive. But anyway, so the source of the Cheerdrop drug is a guy named Cheerdrop, and he's basically a big smiley face. And I got to tell you, the Joker pulls it off with a lot more class. But nonetheless, we do see Red Hood go up against him. He loses the fight in the last one and gets frozen by Mr. Freeze, who he didn't expect. Turns out he's working with Cheerdrops. And we saw Jason Todd do something we've never seen him do before. And that was he got on the call to Oracle and said, I need Batman. I've never seen that, ever. He's never called for help like that, at least called to Bruce. Wow. Ever. So that was something to see. So that alone was just amazing. And this current issue is, well, Batman is trapped, and now Jason Todd's got to find him, and I love that. But more importantly, there's other stories in here were equally as good. I got to tell you, I'm not a Grifter fan. I've never really liked the character that much. I wasn't a huge Wildcats fan, to be honest with you. That said, I've had an amazing time with this Grifter story in this, and each issue gets funnier and funnier. Like, he tried to trap Batman at one point in, like, a giant rat trap almost. Like, it was a weird thing he built. And wound up trapping Superman only for a split second. And that did not work out well for him, but it was pretty hysterical. We also get a really good Tim Drake story that honestly was like a philosopher's gold mine. Everything about this is amazing, but what's more amazing to me is looking at the Grifter and saying, I kind of like this character. At one point, there is literally a moment where in this issue, Grifter and Nightwing are standing next to each other, and Nightwing's like, so what's with the rag on your face? And Grifter's like, I don't know, what's with dressing like an ice dancer? And it's such a good slam. Yeah, that's true, Roger. Oh man, I loved everything about this. It was almost my pick of the week. Almost. It was pretty darn good. Still, there is another DC comic that is just as good as this, but Batman Urban Legends is really kicking butt. Next is oh god. This is another one that I haven't been liking, and neither has Cam. And I'm saying that as a Batman fan. It's difficult for me to say that, but I'm going to tell you that. Tamaki, Bogdanovich, Enriquez, Belair, and T-Rex. And, oh, God. There's so much to unpack. First, I got to get this guy's name before I review this, because the guy's name is Vile. But what is his name? Oh, God. Hugh Vile. The guy's name is Hugh Vile. So he's a very Parasite-esque villain, I guess you could say. If you can't tell from the cover, he's got like the whole Blade 2 evil vampire, like jaw-splitting thing. He can infect people and is actually a hive mind, and that's who Batman's going up against in Detective Comics. And oddly enough, I haven't liked Detective Comics it's been a while. Like, it just hasn't been that good, and this issue really pulled at me. But I have a thing for hive minds, so I'm kind of intrigued by that. But I had a good time with it. More importantly, we need to go over this again. The guy's name is Hugh Vile. And literally, like, you can look at that name and be like, Hugh Vile, oh, that's a villain. And the heroes literally do that in this. They're like, Hugh Vile, that's clearly a villain. How did we not see this? Like, anyone named that? Like, it just sounds like evil. So, but I like the villain. I like this arc. I like the writing. The art is good. Damn it, I had a good time, and it's been a minute, Detective Comics. So, good showing. I don't have to be hard on that book. I mean, I'm not really too hard on it because I'm kind of a Batman fan, but it hasn't been good. It hasn't. Like, the regular Batman line is infinitely better right now, which is usually Detective Comics is the brand that they champion, and Batman comes second. But go figure, this guy, Tinian at the helm. Tinian, Rosenberg, and Francavilla, but this is the Joker, also featuring Punchline. There is something majestic about this comic, and I mean this sincerely. It goes into the origin of the Joker and Commissioner Gordon, not the origin, like full-blown origin, but their relationship, and we actually get to see how things unfold. More importantly, how Commissioner Gordon might have tipped his hand and been the reason for the Killing Joke. Not full-blown reason, but like he might have inspired the Joker to go that route. And it's twisted and it's messed up, but it's a really intriguing origin story that all of us, I think, wanted like to know, and or something we wanted. Trust me, you want this detail. If you were even remotely a Batman fan, you wanted this detail. It was amazing. The art it's different. It's different from the normal Joker art. It's done in this sort of old-timey style, but it's like a modern take on it, and it works. It feels really well. The storyline was amazing, like really good. And I'm saying that as saying that every single Joker issue has been better and better and better and better. This is top shelf stuff. I love Tinian right now because it feels like he's going all out right now. It really does, Roger. It absolutely does. Tinian is just that guy is amazing with the Batman stuff he churns out. I can't get enough of it. You should inject it into my eyes. I feel like. Anyways, this is a Joker variant that we had to show off, and oh god, look at that variant. That is just amazing. God, is that not great? Okay. Next book, Rorschach, Tom King, George Fornes, Dave Stewart. Well, so here's the thing. This Rorschach thing has been one hell of a mystery, and it's gone back and forth, and we basically tried to understand what's going on. If you don't know about this universe, Robert Redford is essentially the Ronald Reagan of this universe, and a lot of things have changed in this timeline. For instance, bin Laden was captured and Saddam Hussein killed himself. Like, they cover all of that in this. So the timeline's definitely different. More importantly, they're trying to get to the bottom of this mystery as to who tried to assassinate Robert Redford's opponent. And the main character seems to be explaining what's going on, but I feel like that's just a red herring that King has thrown at us. I don't know. You're going to have to read it and tell me if you agree. But it's, as a storyline, look, I'm not going to pull any punches here. I love Rorschach as a character. I definitely love Doomsday Clock, and I love Watchmen. And I love Tom King. I love just about everything Tom King has written. I'm not having the best time with this story. Have you been reading it too?
I kind of stopped after like issue was 9.
It's gotten boring, hasn't
I
it?
stopped after like 7.
It's gotten boring. And it's been boring for a minute. And I don't know. It's King. I think he's got 2 issues left. So he's going to pull back the curtain, and it's probably going to be amazing. But this story in particular, it's okay.
Hang on up and down.
DC variants are your favorite? I will agree with you on that. Anyway, so Rorschach, it's okay. I think if you've been on board with Rorschach, you're probably die hard by now, and you're going to go full steam and get to the end of the series. If you're anyone else, definitely don't jump in on this issue. Next is Infinite Frontier. This is Williamson, Pelletier, Rapmund, Marino, Zermanico, and Ferraro Jr. I know I've messed up some names here. Infinite Frontier. So I'm going to tell you flat out that this issue in particular was honestly one of my favorite comics of the week. Now, it was the closest second to pick of the week for a lot of good reasons. One, they're doing a lot with kind of the Justice League and sort of their history. 2, they're fleshing out the multiverse in a way we haven't seen. More importantly, the Omniverse, which is totally new. They're getting down to that. We've got a lot of different teams in play that are pulling their own wheels, and we've sort of got the conflict with that. But the best part about all this is the fact that they're sort of fleshing out the Black Lantern Corps a bit more with Roy Harper at the helm, which we don't know if he's alive or dead. But as far as I remember, the only people who have ever worn the ring have been sort of dead, like completely, the Black Lantern ring. All of the Black Lanterns were dead, and Black Mask, it was always hinted at that he was sort of dead from the beginning, or at least dead alive, kind of. Like, at the very least, he was very, very dead inside, but it was kind of hinted that he was full-blown dead. So we don't know if Roy's dead or alive, but he's definitely wearing Black Lantern ring, and they're going to flesh out more of that. And it's kind of funny to see him flounder in that way. And the ending, my God, the ending of this was the biggest shock I've had in a long time. And I kind of laughed about it, but it was also equally messed up. That's just my dark soldier humor. So I loved Infinite Frontier. It was an outstanding read. Amazing, grand, great. And this is the book that Cam wanted to be my pick of the week. And it's still good. It's just not as good as the other 2 I mentioned. This is Johnson, O.M. Godlewski, and Hi-Fi. It's Superman Action Comics. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you buy this from us, this is the best conditioned book I've ever gotten on our shelves. Like, we pulled it out, and I was like, this looks like a 10.0 if we got it graded. And I've never seen that before. But, God, it's a good condition. This is the House of L. It says they returned, but really, we didn't get too much of them. They were just in the annual, right? So all we got for the House of L was like 1 issue, and we all wanted more, and we totally get it. More importantly, there was a strange time jump in this that almost didn't make sense and felt paradoxical between the beginning and end. But the rest of the story was just outstanding, and it's really the one thing about it was it's a good story, and we do get to see the House of L again, like dealing with something and having to tackle a problem. But do we get more of the House of L history? No, sadly, not too much more. They haven't fully explained it yet, and we as comic fans absolutely want it. But really, let's be honest, that's good writing. You want to hold the secret back and make people want more till you can, sort of, like, we're probably going to get a mini-series, and then it's going to be explained. And I would hope that it would turn out that way. So, House of L, still amazing, but yeah, sad face. Not a lot of history there. Next is Clunan, Conrad, McDonald, Filardi, and we're talking about Wonder Woman 775, Graveyard of the Gods. Now, we saw her deal with the Norse mythos and sort of like losing her memory and getting to the bottom of that. Now she's cruising around with Deadman and Ratatoska, and she's in the Graveyard of the Gods to try and save the Greek pantheon. And honestly, this stuff reads like a fairy tale. Do you remember when Aquaman did the whole sea folklore type story a while back? It kind of ended on that, didn't it?
Talking about the last run.
Yeah.
With the
yeah.
Like the Pacific Islander gods. And
Yeah, and it
everything.
just felt more like a fable than a regular comic, but it was still great, right?
It was.
Yeah, that's what they're doing with Wonder Woman right now. It's great. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. It's just different. It does feel like a fable, and I don't hate it. The last page of the first book, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, Roger. But yes, I'm really loving this Wonder Woman run. But keep in mind, it's like they're going off on a wild tangent, and it's definitely different. But it makes sense for Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's definitely tied to magic. There's a lot of chaos involved at times, and there's a lot of wildness, and she's also tied to folklore, so it works. It works. Or I shouldn't say folklore, I should say myth, but it works really well. I've had a great time with it, and I think you will too. Next is a book, well, I've hated these last couple issues. Williamson, Culver, and Milo Giannis, and we're talking about Future State Gotham. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's just... Normally, I like the 90s style of heavy ink and no color to their comics. But this one in particular, it feels like really light ink, but still black and white. And it doesn't work for me. Like, not at all. On top of that, the story's kind of mediocre, like, at best. And I don't know, man. What have you thought about Future State Gotham? It's okay. Right? It's okay.
Not like all of them.
I'm saying that as a Red Hood fan, which if you're not a Red Hood fan, it's probably not okay for you then. So it's only okay for me. Not the best comic. This one's probably not going to change your mind. It's all right. The ending was kind of fun, I guess. But the rest of it just felt like an excuse to have a couple fights, and they weren't even fun fights. So Future State Gotham, not really my jam.
The worst than number 2?
No, it's not worse than number 2. It's better than the other 2, but it's still not great. So next is Zub, Smith, Poggi, Jr., and Silva, and we're talking about Conan the Barbarian, Escape from the Land of Lotus. This is the last issue we saw. Basically, Conan was delivering a sword to the Emperor, or one of the Emperor's lords, and he, behind closed doors, had a meeting with the Emperor, and then somebody killed the Emperor and framed him for it. Honestly, we all kind of saw it coming, but you sort of want Conan in these moments where he's outnumbered and outgunned and has to be a barbarian and sort of get some kills under his belt, some notches in his belt. And it's fun. It's really fun how that turned out. I had a good time with it. It's just, this comic wraps it up with a bow. It felt a little rushed. If I'm honest, like, that's the only complaint I have here. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. It is Conan in a position that we want him to be in, but the way it gets wrapped up in one issue, like you took 4 issues to set up this arc, and then you wrap it up in one issue when he's in the clutch. Nah, man, you should have drawn that out for a couple more issues. If you're going to take 4 issues to build it up, take 4 issues to resolve it. I don't know. It was okay. I had a good time with it, and it's a position that I like seeing Conan in. It was just not the best showing from this run. Still pretty good. And I think if you're a Conan fan, you'll be happy with it. If you're anyone else, go back an issue before you start on this Conan run. Next is War of the Bounty Hunters, Scoundrels Ball. I'm going to tell you flat out, this is the second... No, wait. Hang on a second. Let me see. This is the first Star Wars book you need to read this week. So, War of the Bounty Hunters, the Scoundrels Ball, make this the first issue, because this ties into Dr. Aphra, and some of the events exactly do happen in the same books, but both books, but this will explain it slightly more. Now, keep in mind, if you're a Star Wars fan, I figured out what was going on right away. You should be able to do that too if you're a Star Wars fan. But I'm just going to tell you the reading order is this first, then that. Now, is this good? Yes, it's amazing. There's a bidding war for Han Solo's carbonite body that none of us knew was stolen before this. And more importantly, we get a really good fight with Bosque and Boba, which I absolutely wanted to see because I like Bosque as a character. I like the Trandoshan bounty hunter, and I love Boba Fett. You also do get a meeting of the Hutt cartels, to include my new favorite Hutt, that is the really, really ripped Hutt that we've never seen before. His name is, do you remember his name, Cam? I don't remember his name either. But he's been in a few of these issues, like Boku. His name is Boku. Bokku. Boku. And wait, don't you mean Boku no Hero? I just realized the name is tied to the My Hero Academia Japanese name. Anyways, Basuke or Baruto. I don't know. I don't know what are we referring to right now? I'm lost. But okay, I loved it. I had a really, really good time with it. And keep in mind, I don't like the mainline Bounty Hunters title, and even the tie-in for this event sucked. But this was outstanding. Really, really good. If you're a Star Wars fan, you will 100% love it across the board. The art is great. I mean, but it's typical Star Wars art. And this issue in particular, yes, they do show the Crimson Dawn showing off. Yes, they comment that, oh my God, the Crimson Dawn is back, but it's not one of those, oh no, the Crimson Dawn is back, where everyone's like scared of the Crimson Dawn. Like, this is really just sort of the villainy groups coming together for a bidding war, and it felt fun. I had a good time with it. Next is the Silver Coin. This is year 2467. This is by Jeff Lemire and Michael Walsh. Now, the art is great. The story is, well, each of them center around this cursed coin and how it gets passed to a new owner, and usually what curse comes from it. But honestly, this one didn't have the curse effect in play. It just felt like a cyberpunk tale with the curse thing on the sidelines. But it still worked. Like, I had a good time, except for the fact that I got to the end of it and I was like, whoa, is that the end of this one? Because each issue seems to end, and then we get a new telling of the coin and the curse. If that's the end of this one, it doesn't feel resolved enough. It kind of was, but it kind of wasn't. And I wanted more of that world, which, you know, it's a good thing. Jeff Lemire is telling you a tale, and he pulls you in, and then you want more of it. But yeah, if that's all I get from that world, honestly, Jeff Lemire, you need to give whatever that was. Give us more of it, because I have so many questions. But I did have a good time with it. It was kind of fun. It's basically cyberpunk meets cursed monkey paw is what you're going to get here. It's still really good. Silver Coin's been amazing. Next is a book I loved. Oh my god, did I love it. I loved it so much. But okay. Cates, Bandini, D'Amico, and Wilson. Look, it's Thor. And it's been a minute, because Donny Cates took a break because he was doing King in Black, and we all had a good time with that. But then he brought it back to Thor, and oh god, what a good issue to restart. Now, we know Thor's been having problems. He's basically become God now. He's in Odin's position, and you know, he's taken on the Odin traits where he's talking to crows and he's missing an eye and this and that, or at least he was until Galactus sort of fixed that, right?
I think he had both eyes, but he was missing his arm, right?
Yeah, at one point, but now
he has on.
and now no, he has his arm. He was missing his eye.
Whole,
No, but I'm saying he was missing it until he became a heron, right?
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, so he's been having Odin traits, but he's basically taking the king role. And meanwhile, he's been having problems with Mjolnir again. It must be a day ending in Y, because good God, does that man have problems with his hammer, right? That guy has more problems with his hammer than I do women, and that's saying a lot. But we're gonna get a little bit more storytelling here. We're gonna get some stuff fleshed out. This might change the face of Thor as we know it. Although I will tell you, what he does with this hammer here is not uncommon for Thor. And if you know what I mean, you know, he's done this. How many times has he done this?
A lot.
At least 3 times, maybe more. At least 3 times that I can remember in the past 10 years. Anyways, maybe 15. But nonetheless, it's good. It's good. If you're a Thor fan, you will love it. If you're anyone else, honestly, you'll love it. This Thor run is amazing. Donny Cates can't do anything wrong. Everything he touches these days is gold. I'm having an amazing time with Thor. You will love it. If you're a Thor fan, you will absolutely get this and enjoy it. Next is Lore, Vecchio, and Blee, and we're talking about champions. But we need to gush about this right now, because that cover is some dope pixel art, and I don't know what like that. It's just amazing. I love that cover. More importantly, most of the champions are going undercover to Roxanne Corps to figure out what Roxanne Corps is plotting. against teen superheroes. So they do that undercover. Meanwhile, they rope Kamala into going to intern at Roxanne Corps as herself in her own celebrity status. And that's a bit much because she really hates Roxanne, like with a passion. But then again, who doesn't? They're the evil. I you can't really call them Microsoft of Marvel because they're not the evil Microsoft of Marvel. They're Exxon. That's what Roxanne Corps was put in place to be, was Exxon. The name is very similar, but similar company that's garbage is what you need to know. Roxanne, man, yeah. I mean, like, especially like Roxanne Corps in Immortal Hulk was like stupid sinister in like the worst possible ways. So is this great? Yes, it's amazing. Viv is back, and I'm so happy she's back, and we get to see more of her, that, and her relationship with her dad, which is always really awkward and fun for whatever reason. If you're a Champions fan, you're especially gonna love this issue. I mean, it really feels like how the Champions should be written, and I had a good time with it. Maybe there's not enough action. If I was to nitpick, I would say, there's not enough fights in it, but that's just me nitpicking. It's a great run. Good. Camp, thoughts on the Champions run?
Love it.
Love it.
I love that they're not canceling it after 2 more.
Yeah, they're not canceling it after 6 issues, which is like they kept doing that last year, and it was just taking the wind out of my sails. And those were perfectly good runs. Next is Aubrey Sitterson, Jeff Doherty, Laverne Kinzerski, and Taylor Esposito. Okay, guys. I like to get excited about number ones when they're like, I don't know, when they're my jam. Something about this is weird though, and I don't know how to put my finger on it. It feels like something we've seen before. It's sort of Kazar meets Red Sonja meets the Smurfs, and that's the feeling I got while reading this. And does that sound like a weird combination? It should. It felt like a weird combination. The story was kind of, I don't know, it was sort of all over the place. It just wasn't working for me. The art was okay. The story was okay. Everything felt a little generic. And, I want you to love a number one. Maybe it's also meets Avatar. Like maybe. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird comic. It didn't feel like it had a lot of focus at times, and I really wasn't sure why that was. Like, it jumped all over the place, but then I just wanted them to establish the protagonists, the villains, and go from there. But I don't know. Maybe that's not the point of it. It says Savage Hearts. Maybe it's falling in love in like a Fern Gully setting. Like maybe that's what it is, and I'm just not getting it. But it was okay. I guess if you need a little fantasy in your life, maybe this is your pick this week. Probably Conan's a better choice. But I don't know. I'm trying to find something redeeming to say, but it was just okay. It was okay. Yeah. So let's just leave it at that. I like the axe she's carrying. That's cool. Next is an indie book that I actually loved. It was weird and awkward and strange, but I was super intrigued. Okay, let's talk about this. This is Chelsea Kane, Leah Mitronique, Kate Nimchix, Rachel Rosenberg, and Joe Carmagna. This is Maneaters the Curse. Now, have you guys read Maneaters the comic? But this is a continuation. I've seen Maneaters before. I believe I have. And I've never read it before, so I had nowhere to go from this. But this is basically centering about a bunch of kids that are going to a summer camp. And when they're going to the summer camp, things are not quite as they were advertised. Like, it turns out one side of the island gets pampered and has, like, golden sunshine and is taken care of. And the other side of the island is rainy and very sleepaway camp. So much so that they describe it as sleepaway camp. So it's strange. And on top of that, the kids that are going into this sort of thing have to wear these specific buttons that sort of tell negative traits. So that's not really explained, but it's still kind of fun. The story itself is, well, it's entertaining, it's intriguing, it's very sort of, I don't know, Boom Studios feeling is what I get from it. But the art is great, the story is great, and I was intrigued. It's strange. It's certainly different. It doesn't feel like any camp any of us would ever go to, but there's a mystery here, and something goes wrong at the end, and you kind of want to get to the bottom of it, and I want to know more about that. Like, I thought it was an actual good showing. So a good issue for a number one, and if you're looking for a good indie this week, honestly, this is almost my indie pick of the week. I say almost because the next book I kind of think was absolutely my indie pick of the week. So I'm going to set this one aside. I'm going to get into the next one, which is Boer, Zucker, Astone, and World, and we're talking about Canto 3, Lionhearted. This is going to be my indie pick of the week. Now, I haven't really bonded much with the Canto books. It seems like a lot of other people really love them. It centers around some Clockwork Knights and some fantasy tales and bravery and courage, and Canto himself is known for a lot of courage. Now, I haven't gotten these books, and I say that flat out. Like, a lot of people have been buying them and going on and gushing about them and stuff, and I haven't quite understood why. But this issue in particular, it sets it up, and I get it. Like, they're doing sort of the knights and fantasy stuff, and it feels right, on top of the fact that they're basically Canto himself has a creed and defines stuff, and he's sort of got to lead his people and have the run of the kingdom and everything else while trying to navigate their enemies and figure out solutions to problems. And it's really fun and intriguing. And if I was to buy a fantasy book this week, it would absolutely be Canto. I think this is, honestly, I did say Conan, but I think this is the best of the fantasy that we have this week. And this is going to be my indie pick of the week for sure, without a doubt. It's Canto. And I got to tell you guys, I get it. I finally really do. It's a great read. Next is, well, it's another good fantasy book this week, but it's not one of my favorites. And why? I don't know. I just haven't bonded with this series all that much. Howard Toe and R.C. Onega, and it's issue number 22 of Excalibur. Now, keep in mind, I said I haven't really bonded with these heroes, but I have been having all right. What is that?
Oh, are you trying to call me? Hi, Instagram. We're about to get real personal, you and I. How's it going today? I just want to let you guys know that I am making sure that this is ending. There we go.
Sorry, guys.
I'll go call Teresa from the back.
Oh, okay. She's probably going to tell you something like something's gone wrong on the live feed. Anyways, next is Howard Toe and R.C. Onega, and we're talking about Excalibur. Let me move Instagram over here because it just works better. We always have people that decide to come in and talk loud and then never buy anything. They just want to get in the shot and talk loud because we're doing something on the internet. So thanks for that. If you decided to tune in and watch this, thanks for being disturbing and not spending a nickel. Anyways, Excalibur, let's see, Howard Toe and R.C. Onega. Now, keep in mind, I have had a better time with Excalibur in like the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 issues. It's sort of picked up, and I've been having a good time. This issue in particular does something really fun where Gambit, being the thief he is, winds up stealing a pack of magical tarot cards. And yeah, magical tarot cards and Gambit, that fits perfectly. That's something I've always wanted in my life and never knew I did. Yogi, was it our feed? Was our feed good?
Oh, no. It's my daughter's wanted to hug and kiss before I left.
Oh, okay. That's fair. So the feed, I mean, not the feed, but what Gambit does in this issue, Yogi? Oh, real fast. Gambit steals a pack of magical tarot cards.
What?
To throw.
So from 1 second he goes from straight mutant to magic wilder?
I guess, but he's throwing magic tarot cards. That's all I ever wanted from Gambit. So that alone is worth the price of admission. We're gonna see something amazing, I feel like, here. And Excalibur is going in directions I never knew I wanted, so that's cool. But we're also sort of seeing them grapple with them closing the fantasy portals to Britain, the magic realm of Britain, and what that entails. And I haven't really been on board with any of that. I haven't cared for it. Have you? He doesn't read Excalibur, so no. I don't know too many people who have been on board with that. It's okay. If we get Excalibur exploring different fantasy realms that aren't tied to that sort of Captain Britain mythos, I would be perfectly fine with that. But we're going in a weird direction. Let's see how it plays out. It seems to be working. Let's see if it turns out well. So, yeah, Excalibur, honestly, 22 is a good jumping in point. I would say you could jump on that.
I'm kind of shocked it's not tied in with the Trials of Magneto series.
Not yet, but you never know. Like it feels like when those series shows up, they sort of shoe in the tie-ins, and then like later on are like, oh yeah, we took time off because so this and this happened. Then they jump back into it. Or just the Avengers, they just decide they're going to have an event in the middle of like a giant, all-encompassing comic event, and then do it later.
Don't remind me of that.
I don't know what was going on with that. Do you feel it was just like Jason Aaron was like, no, I'm doing this now?
Yeah.
Next is a book. Let me see. This might be my Marvel pick of the week. Let me thumb through the other Marvel books and decide if this is my Marvel pick of the week. Yep, it's my Marvel pick of the week. Spurrier, Quinn, Tartaglia, and we're talking about Way of X. Yes, okay, I've been excited about this for a long time. We're finally going to get the mutant religion fleshed out by Nightcrawler. He's basically given up his Catholic faith and is trying to create a new religion for the mutants. And it works. It feels right. And more importantly, we get Legion in it. And Legion scares the crap out of 99% of the mutants, to include Professor X, who is deathly frightened of his child. And
It scares the crap out of me. I mean, to be honest.
he's the most powerful mutant there is. But I gotta tell you, what he does to rein himself in this issue is amazing. More importantly, what he does to the other mutants to rein themselves in because they're dealing with whom? Onslaught. Onslaught is a really difficult customer to deal with. Why is that, Nate?
The negativity of Leos plus Magneto equals Onslaught. He actually absorbed Franklin Richards to give himself the ability to create reality. And he was the one that led to the original Heroes being born, when a lot of the heroes went inside him in order to break him. Jean Grey actually had to completely subdue the Bruce Banner perspective of Thor, just so he can go complete rampage to Fort Onslaught.
Okay, so I don't know if you could hear all that, but basically what Nate is saying is that Onslaught is just a bad dude, that it's encompassed of a lot of bad villains and heroes sort of put together that are real problems to deal with. I mean, so difficult so that Legion in this issue is like, I can't even tell you his name, because if you realize who it is, he'll immediately show up and murder everyone in this room. And Legion is being pragmatic, he's being prudent, but Legion is also brutal. Very brutal. Cruelly brutal in the most messed up of ways in this issue. And it was outstanding. It was amazing. I was blown away with what he did. I was blown away with the limits he went to counter this. More importantly, you get a crisis of faith between Kurt, Nightcrawler, and who is that again? The pirate, space pirate guy?
Captain Hogwarts?
No, not Captain. I can't remember. The guy who was working for Sword. I can't remember his name. But basically, he puts Manhattan and a mutant that is sort of losing their mind in danger at the same time as Nightcrawler is there. And he's like, you can kill him and take care of the problem. You could kill me and take care of the problem. Or you could wind up letting him kill you, which would certainly disperse everyone else, but it would be suicide. What do you do, Kurt? What do you do in this situation? And it's kind of a cool, like, moral quagmire for him to navigate. More importantly, again, it shows that he's still got his ideals. Like, Nightcrawler is still got his ideals, even without his religion or his direct faith, while he's trying to establish a new one. He's still got his ideals, and it works. I had a good time with it. So Way of X, without a doubt, Marvel pick of the week. Is it my pick of the week overall? No, it's actually Flash, the Flash Annual, which was amazing. But this is a very, very, very close second. And I think if you're a Marvel fan, you will absolutely have a good time with this. I certainly did. But again, I like Legion and how scary Legion is. So, and that issue really puts it forth. Like, he's so brutal. It's great. Next is Ed Brisson, Damian Cuchero, and we're talking about Beyond the Breach. Now, this is an indie book. It's a weird indie book. It kind of works. It's basically, I'm going to give you a sample of this. It's a woman is sort of driving. She's going through a bad breakup, and then boom, she's in another dimension that's very similar to ours with giant monsters, it feels like. It feels like it's The Mist, but reversed. Like Stephen King's The Mist was like, we opened up a dimension and then these evil creatures came through and they were all like really gnarly and weird. This feels like she's been thrown into another dimension. Maybe. I'm not fully sure if that's where they're going, but that's what it feels like. It's sort of sudden and felt a little disjointed, but I had a good time with it, oddly enough. The writing was fun, if not a bit tragic. The storyline was wild and sudden. Now, I'm not going to say this is for everyone. I think that if you like well fleshed out stories, this might not be for you. If you like stories that just jump right into action, you'll have a good time with this. But I'm going to say I'm on the fence. It's pretty good, but I'm not sure it's worth a sub. So I would say go pick up the first issue, see if you like it, then decide if you're going to commit. The art was good. The storyline just felt a bit rushed a little bit. But that's me being a little nitpicky. Next is, the power of Ultimo. Of course, you got to deal with an Ultimo. Cantwell, Keifu, and Dermata. This is Iron Man. More importantly, Iron Man's kind of lost. We're not quite sure where he is, and he's not quite sure where he is. But he's running into sort of old heroes and villains and dealing with the fact that they're building a new society wherever they are, and they're not fully sure. Meanwhile, Hellcat can actually use her telepathic powers to get to Iron Man to talk to him. But it takes a lot out of her, and she's still not sure where he is. Nobody really is. Meanwhile, he's still sort of dealing with... Who's he dealing with again?
Ultimo or whatever.
No, Ultimo's in this issue, but who's he dealing with overall? It's, what's his name? Korvac. He's dealing with Korvac, who is already godlike, trying to be more godlike. That's a real problem. But this Iron Man run's been nothing. Every issue is fun. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. It's definitely a midlife crisis book because that's what it feels like Tony's going through. And that makes sense to me, but I'm having the best time with it. Cam, you're sub to it. You got anything to say about Iron Man?
It's weird but good.
It's weird but good. It works. And I really like the team he put together, although they were together for it felt like 2 issues and then we didn't see them. It's kind of sad. Next is Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. Now, Carnage is so much of a problem in so many ways. We know Carnage is a problem, but this is not really right. Right now, Carnage is the big bad in the Venom mythos. Now that Nulla's gone, Eddie thinks he's got control of the Hive. And I think Carnage's whole take is, nah, man, you don't have control of this, and I'm here to show you that you don't have control of this. So that's kind of what we're getting. But in this issue in particular, we're getting several stories that are told that aren't really tied to the mainline Carnage continuity. I mean, they loosely are, but they're sort of told through time, and they may take place in the future is kind of what it's hinted at. They may just be side stories. Is the art good? The art's good. The stories... It's okay. There was nothing that really blew me away, but I am a pretty big Carnage. Well, I don't know if I'm a Carnage fan. I'm a Venom fan. But I am pretty big into Carnage as a mythos, and none of this really shocked me or stunned me. It was okay. So we will have that on our shelves. Come pick it up. Now, it's not the best book of the week for the Carnage stuff, is what I'm going to say. Next is Benjamin Percy, Dave Wachter, and Chris Sotomayor. And we're talking about aliens. Now, what can you take away from that cover, Yogi?
So the last that we were on LB426, they nuked the entire planet, and that is a glowing alien.
It is a glowing alien, but not for that reason. That's all I'm going to say.
You're talking about the fact that it says Hadley's Hope there?
Yeah. And it's tied to something that does happen.
LB426 was the original planet.
There is one thing to know about the alien xenomorphs, and that's the fact that they work with whatever biological material they have. Not even biological. I'd say biological, carbon, whatever material they have, they work with to survive and to create new xenomorphs. So what actually happens previously in the aliens mythos is what does this to this alien, and it's cool. And it's weird, and it's fun, and it's going in a direction I didn't quite expect. So, yeah, you are getting a different take on the aliens mythos. And, yes, it does pick up after the events of Hadley's Hope. And, yeah, I'm not bored with it. I'm saying that as somebody who's not a huge aliens fan. Like, Yogi is definitely the giant aliens fan in this comic shop. But I had a grand time with this book, and I think you will, too. Even if you're not an aliens fan, you'll probably pick this up and have a really good time with it. So, pretty much must buy this week. Must buy. Next is Howard Delandro, Go, and Lou. And this is X-Corps. Now, this is not my favorite of the mutant books this week. That is definitely Way of X. But this does have some good things in it and some redeeming stuff. Now, one, this issue centers around Jamie Madrox, who? Stupid OP mutant is what Nate said, but he's Multiple Man. Multiple Man has a lot of things that are kind of cool for him. One, he can be multiple people. Two, those multiple people can go off and learn their own things and then be absorbed later, so his learning capacity is through the roof. So, yeah. But three, he's also, what's the problem with Multiple Man?
I was gonna say he's his favorite mutant. But,
Well, he's one of my, probably my favorite mutant. But what's the problem with him? He has a nasty habit of going insane. Very insane. Like, way insane for a lot of different reasons. One, his power is taxing. Two, there have been times where he's been sort of messed up in timelines. Three, he's just struggles to keep things together when you're multiple personalities, like pulling it and letting it go and pulling it back in. So he's kind of a loose cannon, which is why I'm going to tell you this is the perfect thing to write him into. At the center of X-Corps, at the center of the multi-billion-dollar business the mutants are building, the master and mad scientist of all tech and science coming out of the mutants right now is Multiple Man, Jamie Madrox, which is perfect. It's perfect. You're going to put him in a mad scientist role, the guy who actually is mad and does have a propensity to go crazy, but is also ridiculously smart because of his power, and like let him be the lab itself. That's perfect. That's great writing.
Forge is going to be mad.
Forge is going to be and might actually be mad in this issue too. But nonetheless, is it great writing for X-Corps? It is. Is it great as a Multiple Man fan? Is it good to see my man being utilized properly? Yes, it is. Is it fun? Yes, it's fun. Is that everything golden? No. Actually, I kind of got a little bored with sort of the corporate backstabbing that had happened in this particular issue, which is weird to say because this should be all about corporate backstabbing. The last two issues felt really fun. Have you been reading it, Cam?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. Cam, seal of approval. I will say that story was what held it back in this particular issue, and it played out kind of how I expected, and there was a little bit of backstabbing, corporate life. But it was okay. The rest of it was amazing, and that's the only thing that sort of held it back, and I'm not sure why it was. Maybe it was just because I'm biased and I love Multiple Man, and seeing him being utilized properly, I was like, wow, I want more of that story, and the other story just kind of took a sideline. Maybe that's it. But it's kind of fun. The Mutant Corporation is kind of interesting. Having a good time with that. Next is a book. Oh, God, guys, I'm going to say it. Spencer Bagley Hennessy, Dell, Owens, Reber, Sinister War #1, and I honestly loved it. I loved it. Nick Spencer, you're gonna give me whiplash with how many times I go back saying I don't like your writing, and then I like your writing, and then I don't like your writing, and I like your writing. This happens to take place at a certain Mary Jane Watson's movie premiere.
Oh.
Remember way back when she filmed the
Amazing
movie?
Mary Jane?
It's
Yeah.
finished.
Was that like last year?
It was last year. It's finished. Who was the director? Do you remember that?
Wasn't it?
It was Mysterio.
Yeah.
So this is going to put, basically there are two Sinister teams, and this is going to put one team on the warpath with the other team, because one team already had it out during the events of Mary Jane, and they're kind of on board with the film, and the other team is not so happy with their representation. So it's kind of fun to see, and it's a good excuse for a fight. But look, way ridiculously way back in Spider-Man's lore, he cut a deal. I wouldn't say ridiculously way back.
No, it is a long
It's a long ways back, though,
Yeah,
right?
and no one wants to remember that. That deal was made right after the first Civil War.
It was. It's so, 2012 time frame. Spider-Man made a deal with Mephisto, and it left the nastiest taste in all fans' mouths. It did. And then we got Sins of the Father. What was it? Not Sins of the Father. Sin Eater. Sins Revisited or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And we all said, oh, God, this is gross. And this has a feeling. It feels like Mephisto in that deal again. And then it came back up, and it's come full circle. And but it does change the face of Marvel. We're going to see a certain hero step up, and I think this might lead to his demise because we know of some other books coming. So if that's a little spoilery, my mouth might have run amok there, but I wonder if it's leading to his demise. We can only speculate. But anyways, is it good? Yeah, it was great. The fight was amazing. It felt very Spider-Man. I like seeing those teams fight. It was a callback to something that happened last year that I was okay with it. It wasn't the best comic, but it was all right. And maybe, just maybe, they're finally solving this Mephisto thing, and that Nick Spencer can finally push past this damn Sin Eater crap that he keeps doing. I don't like it. But I love everything else about this book. I had a good time with it, honestly. And I'm saying that as somebody who's super critical of Nick Spencer these days. If I had a good time with it, it's good. The art is good. The story's good. It's fun. It's fun. I'm something of a deal maker myself. Okay, Klein Hines. Giving us the Green Goblin meme. Okay. Spider-Man, Spider Shadows, Chip Zdarsky, Pascal Ferry, and Matt Hollingsworth. Now, I was super critical of this book. Why was I super critical of this book? Well, it was dark at the beginning, but more importantly, there's kind of a comic trope that I tend to hate, and that's whenever they go back to Spider-Man having the symbiote. I don't know. I don't like it, because whenever they do, it always feels like they're half-hearted stories tied into other events that never really are that much fun. And I think the last one was okay. Would you agree Symbiote Spider-Man last time was okay? What?
So I'm trying to remember so long.
The one that involved the Guardians at one point?
Oh, yeah.
In King in Black? It was okay. It was okay, but okay is pretty much the best you'll get out of me for those. Those tie-ins are never that fun. But Spider-Man Spider Shadow, it was basically what if Peter Parker never gave up the symbiote, and it got violent, it got dark, it got messed up, but now we're getting kind of a redemption story on top of a horror story. And this involves, well, the Fantastic Four. One of them has fallen. A certain unbeatable hero, I guess you could say. Somebody who's never lost a fight.
No, that's not true.
No, it is true. When has he lost a fight?
1610. Ultimate reality. In the Ultimate Universe.
In the Ultimate Universe?
Yeah.
What was it, 616 in there?
No.
Okay, then it doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. And he almost lost a fight to Immortal Hulk on his honeymoon when he sort of lost his powers.
Yeah.
But he still didn't give up.
Yeah. It was under the power of the puppeteer, though.
Yeah. So anyways.
Yeah.
So a Marvel favorite, let's just say a Marvel favorite has lost a fight. Now, I will say this is very Venomized. And if you know what the Venomized event entailed, you know sort of what to expect in this comic. Is it good? Yeah, it's good, but I feel like it's going to have a really dark and messed up ending, and I'm kind of bracing myself for that. I don't think we're going to get a happy ending here, but it kind of makes sense. We'll see. Does Peter Parker ever truly get a happy ending?
No. Well, he did.
He's such a good guy, but he rarely. Yeah, his Black Cat relationship was pretty good.
Yeah, that's it.
J. Jonah Jameson and him finally becoming like father and son almost has been amazing.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's the happy ending there.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker rarely gets a happy ending.
That's the reason it's called the Old Parker Luck.
The old Parker luck. Oh God, yeah. Do you remember the beginning of the Avengers run where Iron Man is like going and meeting up with people to like welcome them to the Avengers, and like he goes to Thor and he's like, "We have beer," and Thor's like, "I'm on board," and then he goes to Spider-Man and he's like, "I've got money." Spider-Man starts crying and hugs him. But yeah, Parker's got a bad time overall. He's sort of a cursed hero. We'll see that play out, I'm sure, in the rest of that. But Spider-Man, Spider Shadow is great. I'm having the best time with it. as somebody who doesn't like the symbiote stuff, I don't like the symbiote. Can you wear? I'm not wearing a mask so that the deaf community can read my lips.
Okay.
But can you wear a mask?
I'm already vaccinated.
I don't care. I'm high risk. And,
Okay.
and
I was just wondering if I could drop off some flyers for a comment.
Oh yeah, I got you, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then return, I'll give you guys some tickets.
Oh, cool. Right
How
on.
many
Man.
tickets would you like?
How many can you spare?
How many would you like?
Six, cool.
You got it, bro.
All right.
Cool.
Clay McLeod, Chaplain, Christopher Mooneyham, Marcio Menez, and we're talking about Scream. This is the Extreme Carnage line. How many of the symbiotes are we seeing? It's all the Life Syndicate ones, right?
I believe so.
So-
That's the first Scream, right?
Yeah, no, for overall, like the comics we're gonna see overall.
Oh man, it totals up to about 8, so probably like
Oh, yeah, already.
8, so probably 6.
It starts with Alpha and ends with Alpha.
Okay, Alpha. But I mean, like, so we're seeing Lasher, Riot,
So that's
Phage,
Phage, Scream, Toxin.
much, man.
I'll see you around.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right?
You're just gonna close it down?
Yep.
I can't believe that, dude. We got that on stream. Okay. I'm sorry, but like I'm high risk for my health, and like I'm not gonna take somebody's word that they've gotten vaccinated. Like if you're in my store, like especially if I'm not wearing a mask so that the deaf community can read my lips, like, and I ask you to put on a mask, why wouldn't you just say, okay, I'll put on a mask, hand me a mask? Like, what is your deal, and why do you got to stand there?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We should all be in a different spot, to be honest with you. In fact, one of our own employees' mother had a bad reaction. So she's hooked up to an oxygen mask right now. For she got the, I forgot which vaccine she said she got, but
Oh, rough.
Elizabeth Johnson.
yeah.
Oh, that's
I
rough.
got the list of the symbiotes right here.
Oh, okay. Give me the list.
All right, so it's Agony,
Agony,
Lasher,
Lasher,
Phage,
Phage,
Riot,
Riot,
Scream,
Scream,
Toxin.
Toxin.
That's it.
Okay. So those are all the symbiotes that we're getting, and I think most of them are Life Syndicate symbiotes. Life Foundation. Am I getting the right Life Foundation?
Yeah.
Life Foundation symbiotes.
All of them are direct offspring of Venom.
They're all direct offsprings of Venom.
So maybe Carnage might be the last.
Well, technically, Carnage is Big Brother.
Carnage is the older one, yeah.
He's the big
Carnage
brother.
is the oldest.
No.
But he's calling himself
No.
father, and for good reason, because like they went,
Toxin.
he was there longer.
Toxin is Carnage's kid.
Oh yeah.
Well, that
Sleeper would technically be the oldest. I know he's not involved, but Sleeper would technically be Venom's oldest.
but this could be a good reason to.
Venom's oldest, Venom's youngest.
Wouldn't Sleeper be Venom's oldest?
No, it's like First Source was something different, right? It didn't happen because they took figure out from any back in that series, or was it when the priest still had?
Oh, that took place in the 80s, like not in the 80s, but way back, right?
You're talking about the Brood
No,
War?
because Venom was the first host. Originally, he wasn't Eddie's host.
Right.
Yeah, he was that Kree? Was it
I believe
Kree?
so, yeah.
It was Kree.
Like Kree is like a Kree commander.
And Sleeper came from that, so Sleeper is the oldest. You're right.
Maybe he might get a comic.
I'm remembering things wrong. Anyways, Scream. So if you are a symbiote fan, let me get back on track here. If you are a symbiote fan, you will love what happens in this issue. Honestly, I had a great time. Yes, okay, we know who the big bad. Who's the big bad, Cam? Carnage. We know it's Carnage. And the way this is going to play out is I believe we're going to be getting new hosts for all the different symbiotes. Is that correct?
Yeah, one of them already got revealed in Planet of the Symbiotes, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, so one of them wasn't several of them revealed in Planet of the Symbiotes?
No,
I remember we saw the American
Phage?
Carnage guy.
Well, we saw a whole family like with the symbiotes
Yeah,
at one point. But that wasn't King of Black though. That was
that was it.
the Absolute Carnage.
Was it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like
that dad that was fighting off those.
But we don't know. I don't think they lasted, right? I don't remember.
I thought for some reason, like, they may not have lasted, but they formed hybrid, right? Because the Maker had hybrids, right?
That's right. Okay, yeah. Okay, anyways, so that's how that played out. It's so much that's happened with the symbiote lore that it's hard to keep straight. Look, Scream is amazing. It's outstanding. We're gonna see it go in a weird way. But I think all the symbiotes are gonna get new hosts, so we're gonna have to see it play out like that. Is it fun? Yes. Is it dark? Yes. Carnage. Anytime Carnage is introduced, he's such a messed up villain that it's just a lot of fun and chaos. I had a great time with it. I think if you're a symbiote fan, you will love Scream, which is weird for me to say because the Scream that was on our shelves was only okay, right?
Scream for King in Black was like, yeah.
It was okay. I had an okay time with the Scream run on our shelf and King in Black, but it was okay. That was great. Next is War of the Bounty Hunters, Dr. Aphra, Party Tricks. This is Wong, Jung, Alazoba, and Rosenberg. This is honestly outstanding. Dr. Aphra took a couple missteps, I felt like, early on in this run, and then it found its footing, and then last issue was kind of like, it was okay. It didn't feel like a War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in. It just sort of felt like a chance to reintroduce an old character from the Kennedy Tarkelson's Clone Wars run, and it was just a side story. It wasn't as fun as it should have been. But this Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunter, Dr. Aphra, it was outstanding. And like I said, read the other about War of the Bounty Hunters book before you read this one. This one does tie to it. But there is a certain character that Dr. Aphra has some traumatic history with that is going to show up here. And if you've been reading it, you know who I'm talking about. I can't spoil it beyond that, but it's pretty wild. We're seeing a lot of big bad show up at the bidding for Han Solo. Who knew? I thought Han Solo was just like, some guy, but he had so much history with so many different like crime syndicates.
Yeah,
and we knew that from the expanded universe, but like...
Well, because his whole thing was he was adopted by smugglers and basically raised by a robot.
Yep.
And then he was like smuggling spice from whenever he was adopted.
Yep. So he's had a lot of history. So there are a lot of people showing up for the auction of him and Carbonite, and it's fun. Really, really fun. I'm having the best time with the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, minus the main Bounty Hunters book. I keep saying it. I'm sorry. It sucks. Next is Eastman, Campbell, and Daniel and Pattinson, and we're talking about TMNT. More importantly, TMNT Eastman. Look at that Eastman variant. Is that not glorious? That is a gorgeous variant. I loved it. But Eastman... Look, okay, the Mutanimals stuff, it's great. I'm loving Mutant Town. New York is not happy with the mutants, but they've sort of got their own place after the events of the Mutanimals setting off the bomb that mutated like an eighth, I think, of New York, like a giant portion of New York. So they're still sort of like getting their feet wet, trying to establish their new life in Mutant Town. Meanwhile, there are some other people who have butted heads with a certain mayor in the form of Baxter Stockman. And, well, April's on the run, so where's she going to take refuge? Where would April take refuge in New York? If she's not the sewers in this instance, because they don't have to be in the sewers anymore. So no. She goes to Mutant Town. She hangs out with the turtles. So yeah, it works out. But what I love more about this, which is from the Eastman covers, is that the kids all have they have their own headbands and they're all the same color. They're pink. They're very original series, but the TMNT kids. It's the two weasels and the three weasels and the one turtle, and I love their adventures, and they really do get some center stage in this, and I've had a good time with those characters. So that's what really does it for me. So if you're a TMNT fan, you love it. If you're anyone else, please jump in on TMNT. We need more subscribers for it, and it's such a good story and a good series, and I think you'd have a really good time with it. Next is a book that was almost my indie pick of the week. It was great. It was great, Cam. Cam's happy. Jeff Parker and Javier Pulido. This is Ninjak or Ninja K. I don't know what you want to call him. Ninja K. Because it comes from the lettering, right? Yeah. So he was like, what, the 7th ninja or something? The 9th, 10th? I don't know how many letters that is. Anyways, So if you don't know Ninjak is sort of MI6, but it's espionage with ninjas. Like they tap ninjas to pull stuff off. There's also a lot of tech and a lot of backstabbing and political like turmoil and a lot of assassinations and wildness. Look, if it sounds like they're putting a lot of stuff together, they are, but it works really well. Like I had a really good time with the storyline, and I'm saying that as somebody who's not super into the Valiant universe. Had a good time. The art was pretty good. It wasn't the best art, but it was nothing bad. Although I will say that I got to the end of this particular issue, and they had a Shadow Man like art sample at the end of the book, and looking at the Shadow Man art, and then going like I just read Ninjak with a different art style, and I really felt like the Shadow Man is way superior, and it almost made the book feel worse by seeing that. So I don't know. I don't know. That was just my take on it. But the art was okay. The storyline was super fun. I mean, it's good. It's a good opener, and really at times it did feel like they were doing the whole X-Men issue 1 thing where, oh hey, the X-Men are back. Oh hey, Ninjak is back. Did you know that?
No.
Ninjak is back. Like they have literally a bunch of heroes just going, oh, he's back. It's like, oh, okay, Valiant, I guess do it. But I had a fun time with it. There's nothing to complain about here. It's a perfectly good indie comic. I shouldn't say indie, it's Image. It's a perfectly good Image comic. You will enjoy it. You will have a good time with it if you buy it. Trust me, it's a good number 1. That's our show for this week. Anything else to add?
Hicham Hachi will be here for the Saturday following Book 7 of Urban Legends.
Okay.
And, we got bins in. We've got comic book showcases finally, and short boxes. That's pretty much it.
Bins, short boxes. Hicham Habshi is in this week?
No, not this
Not
week.
this week.
Next month.
Next month. Sorry. I'm
Issue 7. You good.
that whole event that took place during the feed has got me rattled. Anyways, I'm gonna go, guys. Oh, Jacob, that's a terrible joke. I'm gonna go, guys. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Yay.